On 9/11, I was in the South Tower on the 78th floor. They're one of my customers. I was there. I was a consultant for them, which means I didn't work there full time. I was there a couple days a week, 3 or 4 days a week probably. It's my first day back early, and before the week before, one of the vice presidents who I worked for, Bob, he was kidding me. He goes, "When are you going to come back in early?" He was an early person. I said, "I'll be back in on Tuesday, one of my normal days. I'll be back in early." The company had software for the stock market. So the trading floor opens at 9:30. So most of the people had to be in the offices by about 9:15. But I was an early person. I was there about 7:30, quarter to 8. So was Bob. It was a beautiful, clear, sunny day. Not a cloud in the sky. 65 degrees in the morning. Clear, crispy, sunny day. Could see for miles and miles and miles. I was at my desk about quarter to 9, and I felt a little vibration. And a couple minutes later, outside my window, I saw papers flying. So at that height, you're not supposed to see much. I was there other times. It rained one time on the ground, and we had sun all day long. We were above the clouds. Other times we were there. We were above the helicopters, above the little Cessna planes, little blimps. It was an interesting place to work. So we were on a sky lobby. So you take an elevator from the ground floor, from the lobby, all the way up to my floor, up to the 78th floor. It took about a minute to get up there, 850 feet or so. It took about a minute or so to get up there. So I'm out to the sky lobby on the 78th floor, and somebody said Tower 1 got hit by a plane. I thought a little Cessna. I thought a little two-seater plane. Usually at the tip of Lower Manhattan, it's really kind of windy. And I thought he was screwing around by the buildings. He got basically blown into the buildings, exactly what I thought. But back to my desk, called my wife, real quick conversation. And basically the plan was to go downstairs to see what was going on and go back up. So I went back to the sky lobby. I was leaving with Steven. I was with 4 other people. I was leaving with Steven, and he said to me, "I forgot something in my office." I said to him, "All right, I'll see you downstairs," just like we're talking now. And I don't remember any panic, anything like that. But I do have some memory loss up there. So I got to the sky lobby. So if you worked on the 80th floor, for instance, you had to take an elevator from 1 to 78 and then take a local from 78 to 80. So on 78 was a transfer floor. So people started coming down so to get out of the building. So when I got to the lobby, the sky lobby on 78, there's a lot of people up there. And I remember being up there, and the elevator doors opened up, and the elevators were big. They hold about 50 or 60 adults. They were pretty big elevators. And I got some memory loss up there. I don't know if I got pushed on or dragged on with these 6 women. 5 or 6 women had their arms locked. And I don't know if I got pushed on or dragged on with them, but I got on with them. I remember being in the elevator, and it goes down very fast like it did. You got to go down 800 feet or so in a minute. It goes down very fast. But then towards the bottom, like it did every day, it would have to slow down in order to stop. I remember being in the elevator, and people were screaming, "It's going back up, it's going back up." And I'm like, "No, it's not. It does this every day. It goes down very fast, and then when it gets towards the bottom, it's got to slow down and stop." I got down to the bottom, the doors opened up, and my exit would have been right at the building, right at Liberty Street, right to the left. Walk out of the elevator and turn to the left. There are big glass doors there, revolving doors. Looked like a war zone outside. There's all debris and everything outside, and the doors were basically locked. So building security, the first level of the World Trade Center was the mall access to the mall, the shopping mall, and building access. So building security is pushing everybody through the mall, but being in the mall kind of keeping us from Tower 1, because Tower 1, of course, got hit first. I remember being in the mall and the police yelling, "Get out of the building, get out of the building." And I'm like, but building security is pushing everybody in here. Like, it was just complete chaos. I got some memory loss in the mall. Don't remember leaving the actual building. I remember being outside, but I was a block away. I was on Church Street and Barclay Street, which is basically a block off the property, when the second plane came in. I was 74 floors down outside on a corner. I went to turn before the plane came in. I kind of had to get my bearings, so I walked up and I said, "Oh, there's a ferry station right behind that building. I'm going to walk to the river and get my car, and I'll come back to work tomorrow," basically. As soon as I turned, I never saw the plane. I was too close to it. I felt it on the ground. 74 floors down, I felt the pressure from the heat from it. There's a building on the corner. We ran into the lobby of that building, out through the lobby of that building. And I basically ended up walking home, about 16 miles. I ended up walking through Manhattan. I heard the Pentagon got hit, the White House got hit, the Capitol got hit. I didn't know what to believe. On a normal day, it's a train ride across the river. It's about a 4-minute train ride or a ferry ride across the river. I ended up walking up Midtown Manhattan. I walked about 16 miles, like I said, up to Midtown Manhattan. I ended up there's ferries that run up from Midtown Manhattan right across the river to New Jersey. And somebody said the line stretched for 20 city blocks. There were 19,000 people in line waiting for a ferry. And the ferries hold about 200 people each. So you need a lot of ferries to move that many people, and a lot of trips. I ended up getting lucky. There was a bigger boat. It's called the New York Circle Line. They do like tours for tourists. They started donating boats. I got in a boat right across the river. I walked probably 3 or 4 miles to New Jersey, and my wife picked me up a couple miles from my house. I was home by 2:30 in the afternoon. The people I was with, Bob was vice president. He didn't get out. He was kidding me before I left. He goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "Bob, I'm going downstairs. I'll be back." He's like, "Come on, I'll be back." I said, Jill was a secretary. Jill's son crawled that day on September 11th for the first time. He was 10 months old, and she never saw him crawl. And she didn't get out. She was on the phone when I left. And the other person was with me, Stephen. Stephen forgot something in his office, and he went back to get it. And he was on the phone with his wife. And we were the impact floors. The plane hit. When the pilot turned the plane into the building, he basically turned it on almost like on its side, almost like this. So the plane went in from the 74 to 84 floors. 77 and 78 were the impact floors, which were our floors. We had both floors, and our side of the building. And Steve was on the phone with his wife when the plane came in, and we know that for a fact. The other person I was with Miles, and I don't know if you guys had studied anything about Ireland, Northern Ireland. There's a lot of bombings in Northern Ireland. He's from Northern Ireland. And I said to him the following week, I said, "Why did you leave?" He goes, "For me," he goes, "I heard a boom and I left." That's as simple as he put it to me. And that's what he did. And he got out. So we were the company I worked for had all of 77, half of 78. So on 77, there were 15 people, 14 people got out. And on 78, there was 5 people, including myself, and 2 got out, including myself.
Mr. Branco, just a quick question. So what do you wish that people can take away from this event? Because I know that when it comes around, like the anniversary of it, there's a focus on some of the things that maybe we shouldn't focus on. So what do you wish people would maybe talk about that day or remember that day?
There are 2 pieces to that. One piece is very important to me, and that's why I do the volunteer work I do, that almost 3,000 people died that day just going to work. And to me, that can't be forgotten. And memory is very important to me. My friends who died, who I was with, I have a tattoo of their names on my arm for that reason. I have another 9/11 tattoo because I want people to remember that. I want people to remember that there are people that are there. But also, after 9/11, everybody came to help. And that, to me, is tremendous of the American spirit and really the world spirit. If you look at any stories afterward, you're going to see people from coming all over the country and they couldn't really fly in. So if there were people who come from Canada to help, first responders, there was hundreds of rescue workers with rescue dogs coming here to look for people. They would just drive down. I could tell you many stories about people from Chicago got into a car and drove for 9 hours or whatever, how long it takes to get here, because they wanted to come help. And then being in Manhattan or even in New Jersey, you needed anything, you got it. It's a weird story, but there was a guy on the news one day talking about how his rescue dog, his feet were burning because the fires burned here for 100 days. So he's talking about how his dog's feet are burning. So the next day, this doggy company sends hundreds of boots out for dogs. So, if you needed food, thousands of people went down there who own restaurants or whatever, went down there to feed these people who were looking for people. Basically, the point is the country came together, and that's not happening anymore. I don't mean to be political, not at all, but the country came together and people just helped people, and that to me is very, very important.